Have you ever wondered what the real secret is to making next year's garden the best one yet? Well, it might be way simpler than you think, and the work actually starts right after you pick that last tomato.
You know that feeling at the end of the growing season, right? It's so satisfying. The last of the harvest is in, the plants look tired, and the garden's finally quiet. But then that question pops up. What in the world do you do with all those empty garden beds now?
Now, the temptation is just to rip everything out and call it a day. But leaving your soil totally bare all winter, oh, that is a huge missed opportunity. You're basically leaving your most valuable garden asset exposed to wind and pounding rain. That leads to soil that's compacted, depleted, and come springtime, you're looking at a much harder job with way less fertile ground to work with.
But what if there was a better way? What if, instead of leaving your garden exposed, you could give it its own protective, living, breathing winter coat?
Just imagine this for a second. A garden that isn't just sitting there all winter, but is actively working for you. A garden that's fighting off weeds, preventing that nasty erosion, and actually building up fertility, all while you're inside nice and warm. It's not magic, it's a technique that smart gardeners have been using forever.
And this amazing, self-sustaining garden is all made possible by something called cover crops. Seriously, just think of them as a cozy blanket for your soil. Unlike your veggies, you don't plant these to eat. Nope, you plant them to feed the earth itself. That's why they're often called green manure, because that's exactly what they become. And these plants are serious multitaskers. They act like living armor, shielding the soil and holding it all together with their roots, which stops erosion in its tracks. They grow into a thick mat that literally chokes out weeds before they can even get started. Plus, their roots create little tunnels that improve drainage, making life so much easier for your future vegetable roots. And then, when their job is done, they add all this amazing organic matter right back into the soil.
So let's talk about this green manure thing. How does a simple plant manage to enrich the soil so much? Well, it's actually a pretty fascinating process.
Okay, this is where the real magic happens. First, you've got the nitrogen fixers, like clover and peas. These guys literally pull nitrogen, which is like a superfood for plants, right out of the thin air and store it in your soil for free. Then you have what I call the nutrient scavengers. These are plants with super deep roots that go way, way down and pull up valuable nutrients that wash too deep for your normal veggies to reach. And finally, when you cut these plants down, they just decompose and become this rich organic matter that gives your soil an amazing texture.
All right, so you're probably thinking, this sounds great. Which one do I choose? And that's a great question because there isn't one single best cover crop. It's all about picking the right hero for your garden's specific mission. We can break them down into 3 main groups, and each one has its own superpower. First up, we've got the legumes. These are your fertilizers. Think crimson clover, hairy vetch. Their main job is grabbing all that awesome free nitrogen. Next are the grasses, the protectors. Winter rye and oats are champs at creating a thick carpet that smothers weeds. And finally, you have the broadleaves. These are the specialists with really unique skills.
So let's see how this works in real life. Let's say your soil is hard and compacted, like clay. Who do you call? A specialist, like the daikon radish. Its giant root acts like a natural drill, breaking up that tough soil for you. But if your number one enemy is weeds, and more weeds, then you want a protector, like winter rye. It grows so thick and dense that weeds just don't stand a chance. But here's a little pro tip for you. Why pick just one superpower? A lot of experienced gardeners plant what's called a cocktail mix. A classic one is winter rye and hairy vetch. The rye gives the vetch a little something to climb on, and together you get amazing weed control and a massive nitrogen boost. It's like the ultimate soil building dream team.
Now, I know this might all sound a little complicated, but I promise you, the actual process is incredibly simple. Let's just walk through it real quick. It's really just 4 easy steps. So about a month or so before your first hard frost, just clear out your old plants, give the soil a quick rake, and scatter your seeds. Water them once, and then you just let them grow. Your work is pretty much done until spring. Then, about 3 or 4 weeks before you're ready to plant your veggies, you cut the cover crop down, and this is important. Do it before it makes seeds. And then you just leave the cuttings right there on the soil. It's called the chop and drop method. Let it all sit there for a couple of weeks to start breaking down, and then you're ready to plant. What you're doing is basically creating a layer of fresh compost right on top of your garden bed. All that green stuff breaks down, it feeds all the good microbes in the soil, and turns into this amazing material that will fuel your vegetables all season long.
So by taking this one super simple step in the fall, you're not just putting your garden to bed for the winter, you're making a really powerful investment in its future.
And honestly, the transformation is just incredible. You go from this bare, empty plot to a garden bed that is just bursting with life and ready for a more productive, more beautiful season than ever before.
And what do you get for this tiny bit of effort? Oh, just healthier living soil, way less weeding to do in the spring. You get free, natural fertilizer, better water drainage. And all of that leads to healthier plants, which means better tasting, more nutritious veggies for you.
So, as you're cleaning up your garden this fall, don't see it as an ending. See it as the beginning of your next best season yet. By tucking your soil in with a cover crop, you're not just gardening smarter, you're working with nature to create a garden that's healthier, stronger, and brings so much more joy.